Okay, so we have 11:30, so I think we can slowly start. I hope that anyone who plans being here with me today is already onboarded. So I will start from a short introduction. My name is Joanna Rajca-Rychlewska, Asia in short. And I am working as digital product content services leader and team manager in one of big companies in Wrocław. Overall, I've been working for 13 years already in the digital industry, digital marketing industry, working on different sides of that industry. So sometimes more from the marketing perspective and coordinating the campaigns, online campaigns. Now more focusing on the implementation of the MarTech, so marketing technology for the marketing excellence. And today I wanted to talk about a topic that might not be maybe a classical IT topic. And in a moment, I will tell you why is it the one. But I think that overall, talking about digital detox and concept of balance between using digital technologies and between being connected to the physical world and the reality outside of it is a nice counterbalance for us as digital professionals. And I believe, I hope that here today there are many of you working either in the IT industry already or planning to do that in future. So I also strongly believe, based on my experience, that this topic is important to build awareness, to build practice in keeping the right balance between the digital world and the rest of our world. Okay, so once again, digital detox for digital pros, a personal journey to reclaim focus, productivity, and well-being. Also, I would like to say that I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a health worker. So today I want to show you my personal perspective and experience, maybe more from a mentor point of view. So as a person who is working in digital industry for a longer time, and seeing the need of this concept in this area of IT world. So please treat it as again maybe an invitation and inspiration for you to deep dive a bit more into that topic, to think how it might work for you, but not as any should that I want to give you today. So I'm not saying that you should do digital detox. I'm saying that from my personal perspective, it proves to be important, and I would encourage to at least grow awareness around that concept. Okay. Before I start, maybe, and moving into the content, just wanted to remind that there will be time for questions at the end. So feel free to ask anything you want when the presentation will stop. In the meantime, if you would like to, you can also chat, type on the chat, where are you from, and just say hi to everyone else on in the presentation today. By the way, I'm from Wrocław, so interested to see if anyone here also being somewhere from that area or maybe other places in Poland. Feel free to use the chat even now to write anything for the beginning and to welcome other participants here. And also, I really hope that you all are safe, because there are some nervous days around the south of Poland. So if we have anyone here from those areas, I really hope that you are now safe and healthy, and your families as well. Okay. Moving through the intro, I wanted to. Okay, I see some first. I saw some first comments. I'm not sure. Here. Okay, perfect. Hi everyone. I see someone from Warsaw and from Łódź. Perfect. So the central Poland for the moment. Good. And Rybnik is saying hi. Perfect. Hello, everyone. Really nice to see you. Now at least I have the impression I'm not talking to myself only. That's perfect. And there is someone from Wrocław as well. Fantastic. So yeah. Okay, so a bit nervous days in Wrocław at the moment, but all good. So that's the positive news, and I hope it will stay this way. All right, moving on with the intro. By the way, if anything will go wrong, you will not be able to hear or see me. Just put that also into the chat. Although I understand for now it's all good because I saw your responses. So I wanted to start from that quote from a really good book that I can also recommend you, Digital Minimalism, written by Cole Newport. That quote, from my point of view, summarizes the whole difficulty in relation between people and digital technology. So just to go through it, from the exhausting and addictive overuse of these tools to their ability to reduce autonomy, decrease happiness, stoke darker instincts, and distract from more valuable activities. The fraught relationship so many now maintain with the technologies provided me a much better understanding of what Andrew Sullivan meant when lamented, "I used to be a human being." So it's quite, I realize that this is quite maybe negative way of looking at technology. And it's not also my intention here to say that the whole technology and its usage is bad. It's more that the overuse of technology and being stuck in overuse of technology might not be healthy, or for sure is not healthy. And that's the summary of the risks that can come out from overuse of technology by a person. And also just one remark, at the end of the presentation, you will find one slide with all the reference materials that I used for that presentation. So also the books and essays, like the essay by Andrew Sullivan, "I used to be a human being," they are referenced at the end, so you can easily go through the links and get to the source files yourself. So why do we need the digital detox? If we look into numbers, just a few stats that I brought up here, but much more can be researched and found in across different sources. These are European Union numbers for young people. That was a group of people between 15 and 29 years old. And the numbers of population among those people using internet and for what purposes they are using it. So more than 80% of the people being researched are using social networks. Then 70% use internet for news reading and also for internet banking. A bit less, but still 20% nowadays, a bit more, between 20 and 30% use it for political participation or online courses. By the way, I would say that online courses might go even upper, but as we can see, the peak was in 2021 during COVID, and then it went a bit down. But anyway, the thing is that more than 80%, close to 90%, of people to the age 29 are using the social media, but also use internet for other things like the internet banking, shopping, which is not mentioned here, but also is somewhere there. So it's just a part of our daily life. So we don't have to be digital professionals to be engaged in the activities on the screen in the digital world. That's the point I wanted you to get from it. And then another set of statistics. This is for the time period between 2008 and 2015, where the research shows that the average time spent on any type of screen activities outside of work was across different European country, as you can see on the graph, with Greece being on the top and more than 3 hours, while Poland having around 2.5 hours of such screen time after work among our population. So if we think again about people working in IT, people being digital professionals, the majority of our day is already work in the digital tools. And then if we think about the 2.5 hours on average, of course, that we may spend still in front of the screen for different other activities, it starts to be a lot of time, right? So of course, this is simplification based on just some average numbers, but we can say quite safely that for a digital professional, someone working, let's say on average 8 hours a day with in front of a screen, and then spends those 2.5 hours on average during private time, we have much more than a half of our active day being spent in front of a screen and being spent in the digital reality, let's call it like this, which seems quite a lot if we think about it. For me, it brought some alert when, after my work, when I was able finally to close my PC, in 1 hour later, I had to open my PC again to, for example, do the banking activities or check in my child's school system if there are any news, any messages, anything to be managed, or check my private email to see if there is not an important communication coming to me, or book a hotel for a weekend. So at some point I understood that I'm spending really a lot of time in front of a screen on top of what I do already in the work. And I started to feel kind of, maybe a blocker, not that prevented me sometimes, like a kind of a blocker that prevented me from opening the PC again, because I felt like it's just too much. And I thought this is kind of an alert that I should take into consideration. And then I started reading a bit more about the risks of digital overuse. This is not a closed list. These are just the most common ones being mentioned in the literature, but we could keep on adding here. And actually, maybe I will even ask you to do that. So here you can see attention overwhelm, nervousness, concentration issues, decreased empathy, weaker relationships, exposure to aggression, addictive behaviors like meaning loss of control in using the tools. What would you maybe add from your experience if you think about these days, or maybe some of your colleagues who you believe spend a bit too much time in front of a screen, or a lot of time, maybe not too much, but a lot of time? What other risks you can think of that might be added here from your experience when thinking about a lot of time spent in front of a screen, no matter if at work or in your private time? But basically, what other risks would you give as an example, thinking about spending a lot and maybe too much time in the digital world? Laziness. Perfect. Yes. Laziness probably meaning that it's sometimes just, let's say, simple, right, to scroll the Facebook or LinkedIn. If we talk about digital pros, we want to be visible on LinkedIn. So we go there, we just want to check maybe the most important posts. But then we see more and more coming. So we're scrolling. And you don't have to engage too much into it. You can just scroll. And if you are tired after your work, scrolling seems really the easiest to do, the easiest thing to do. And that's the laziness that comes with it. Irritation, that's a very nice example as well, because this is what the word I was missing when I was telling you about my experience with after work hours, where I had to open my PC again and do something in it. I got irritated by the fact itself that I again have to sit down and have to do something in front of a screen. Eye issues, spine issues because of bad posture, of course. That's of course as well. Procrastination, being more tired. Yes, I'm really happy to see those examples, because that means that you are already aware of the negative impact that usage of digital technologies bring with itself. And again, this is why I believe this is an important topic that we have to somehow also work on when being digital professionals or planning to be those. And now, if we talk about all those risks and a lot of time that we spend in digital world, let's say environment with digital technologies, that gives us quite simple recipe for a burnout at some point of time. So of course, I don't want to say that every IT professional has to experience a digital burnout. No, but it's possible that this might happen because of the big amount of time that we spend in working with digital technologies, and because of all the risks that are all the time to which we are all the time exposed. And definition of burnout is basically a state defined by those three main elements. So feeling emotionally exhausted, depersonalization, meaning not having enough empathy, and then also having this decreased sense of accomplishment. All of that is caused by being trapped or stuck in uncomfortable and stressful situations for a longer time. So again, if we think about the long list of risks and the long time we spend with those risks, it's not, well, we should not, it doesn't mean we will get the burnout, but it means that there is a high risk that at some point in time we might came across a burnout caused by being overwhelmed by use of digital tools. So this is where we are coming across the digital detox concept. It's nothing new. It's not something that probably is also super new for you. But I'm glad to see it's more and more being researched and popular as well. By digital detox, what we understand is a periodic disconnection from technologies and attempts to regulate technology involvement by reducing communication overload and technology overuse. And that's exactly what I believe is important when being so much exposed to working with digital tools. And I really would love every digital professional to get some level of awareness around that. And now, stepping into my digital detox personal journey timeline. Again, I'm not a psychologist, so I would never like to talk about something connected to the health issues or well-being as you know, based on researches. I didn't do any researches on digital detox myself, but I did an let's say experiment on myself, and I just believe that the 3 weeks of holidays this year will be fantastic and a good time to test and learn a little more on how I can control and how I can reflect on my usage of the digital tools. And why? Because, as I said, 13 years of experience already working in the digital environment means that I also feel the exposure to all those risks. And for example, the last half an hour was the last half a year, apologies, the last half a year, I can, after reading a bit more and understanding a bit more the concept, I can say that many times I felt some of those maybe elements of the burnout. Maybe it didn't felt like the total burnout situation, but really the elements there were something that I experienced myself. And that took me to the decision that I need at least 3 weeks of holidays to disconnect from not only work, but also think about this connection from this all those risks connected to the usage of digital. So the first thing was think about closed period of time and take the conscious approach to it. So I started also to document a bit how much time is spent and start from reflecting on how much time I spend a day or a week on usage of digital media. And day one, day two, as you can see, it was a lot because I had to finish some things to work, some outstanding reports, some emails. And then when closing the laptop, although this was the time of holidays already, and I was in a beautiful camp surrounded by mountains, I still would open my social media and check what are the new posts, if there was something interesting or not, which was totally unreasonable in the situation of, as I said, being in the holidays in a nice place. I was still stuck with my mobile, not for a longer time, like 1 hour maximum, but still. Some online shopping, some things to catch up after busy days before vacations. We all know that, right? But when I summed up, it went out that 7 hours of my time during my first holidays day I spent in front of a screen. The second day was not better because there were still some things to be finished at work. By the way, that gave me a signal that obviously I was not able to plan work accordingly to finish everything before holidays, which would be the good scenario, the perfect scenario, which also gave me the signal that something was not right in my ability to plan and be productive before the holidays so that I can start then the holidays as I wanted. Work phone checking, because obviously I was out, so I wanted to see there is nothing important coming in the meantime that I should also still before holidays deal with. Again, LinkedIn, reading news online, and of course, normal usage of phone for family and friends, and taking some pictures because holidays, of course, are increased time to do that. 7.5 hours. So this is when I said to myself, all right, either I will just leave the laptop and my phones in the car, ideally, or somewhere, because we were on the camping with the tent. So the car was the best place to be pretty far away from my hands, or it won't work. It won't simply not work. So I tried to get more conscious approach to that since day 3. And the good thing from my personal experience is that it was pretty easy. So once you understood that it was too much, and once I took the decision, okay, that's enough. I don't have to know what's happening on LinkedIn. I don't have to know what's happening at work when I'm out. I'm just leaving it. Then you can see the time spent on in the screen went down to 1 hour or below 1 hour. Finally, half an hour in week 3, and it opened an ocean of other possibilities. And maybe it sounds simple, right? Because It's just, okay, well, there is no philosophy in it, but honestly, there is, because you really have to make this conscious decision not to reach for the phone or the laptop or social media or shopping online, to feel and experience the amount of time you can have for other activities. For bicycling, for sightseeing, for just connecting to a friend or a partner or your child in a simple conversation that is face to face with eye contact and with a lot of attention being put into that conversation. Again, these are simple things, but only if you start experiencing them, you start feeling how much they are important and how much time we spend on screen instead in real life, missing all those good and healthy things for our focus, productivity, and well-being. So when I reflected on my state of mind, let's say, and feelings that I was having, somewhere before the holidays and at the beginning of it and towards the end of it, when I made this conscious decision to disconnect, you can see, of course, it was a mix. It doesn't mean that on the left side there was only nervousness, only tension and impatience and lack of energy. But here you can see the feelings and my state of mind that was the dominating one, at the beginning of the period of the digital detox and towards the end of it. So at first, on the left, on the bottom, these were those feelings you can see. And later, when I disconnected and made sure to connect more and use my time more for the real world activities outside of the screen, then it came with calmness, connection to myself as well, time for what's important, patience, empathy, more motivation, and more energy to act. To your point around laziness, irritation, procrastination, being more tired, all of that really got minimized and gave space to all of those more positive and healthy feelings. So it was a good feeling. And I really could come back later to work after those 3 weeks feeling of being recharged, not with this, feeling of, probably that maybe if you work already for a longer time, if you come back after vacation, it's like, oh no, again, I have to do it again. I'm not ready. This time I didn't feel that. It was more, okay, I know what I want to do. I have space for it, and I'm well connected to what's important for myself. And I really, really feel that was the result of the real disconnection and being done with conscious. All right. Just wanted to now go into those 3 categories that I think help a little to group all those benefits that came out for me from my personal small digital detox done this year. So again, when it comes to focus, which is ability to pay particular attention to something, to concentrate, and to control this process of concentration. On the left side, again, you can see the dominating feelings that I had in that space, and before my small digital holidays digital detox, and after it on the right side. So I felt many times lack of clear priorities, distraction by small things, procrastination, to one of your comments, feeling of working on too many topics at once, forgetting important things, jumping between topics without going deeper. And that's probably natural part to some extent in working online, in working in digital. You are getting so much information all the time. You are constantly connected. You have one meeting after other because you don't have to move physically between the meeting rooms. You are just on your PC. That's probably natural to get stuck into that kind of feelings. But after my disconnection, I really felt much more able to reset priorities, to deliver on my commitments, act when needed, and feel empowered to act and feel the energy to act and get the right understanding of the situation rather than, just look at something and not understanding it because there are so many things next to each other. So that was definitely the focus area where I feel overall that I improved with that exercise. The productivity, which means how efficiently and effectively one can perform her tasks and contribute to the established goals. Again, I felt before my exercise that I'm slow I'm progressing too slow on what I wanted to do. I'm working rather reactively instead of proactively. Long hours of work without expected results, no time for planning. Do you know that? If yes, that might mean that if you work in the digital space, in the IT space, and if you are constantly connected and bombarded by many information pieces coming to you, that maybe the exercise like digital detox might be the right one. Because after mine, I really felt come back to a much more time and ability to plan properly, deliver on the key priorities on time, and basically have also some space for proactive actions, both at work and in my private life. So coming back to this laziness, I didn't feel this lack of energy to do anything anymore. I really felt I can do something else after closing my PC. When I came back to work after the holidays with my digital detox piece. And last not least, the third category of benefits that I identified was overall well-being, which is defined as state of being comfortable, healthy, or happy. Before my small personal journey, very often the dominating feelings and state of mind in that category that I experienced were around nervousness, irritation, to one of your comments, being unhappy, feeling weak and tired, stressed, sometimes lost in what should I do first, angry as well. This probably my partner could tell you most about that, and impatient. This is something that probably my children could comment very well. And sometimes it was like I was really helpless. I knew I shouldn't be so impatient. I knew I shouldn't be so angry, but I just couldn't help it. And after my 3 weeks of the detox journey and disconnection, I really came back to much more calm state with with space for being grateful for small things and being more empathetic, connected to myself, connected to others, like really connected, talking to them, having really good conversations, not only messages on WhatsApp, and stronger and relaxed. So again, another field in which I really felt I was basically surprised to feel so much benefits in such a big change. That's also something that surprised me after those 3 weeks. So, as Walt Disney said, the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. And I think that's a really nice motto whenever we want to experience something, change something, test something. So I would like just to encourage you to start from planning some time without technology as much as you can and see what happens. It's not, again, to say all the technology is bad and life of a digital professional is a miserable life. No, it has a lot of benefits. And the flexibility, for example, that working online and within the IT industry is given is fantastic. But sometimes the risks to which we are exposed can take the control. This is why it's good to make some exercises with this small exercises, maybe not 3 weeks, maybe 3 days, maybe 1 day or one afternoon, to start somewhere and simply disconnect and make the space for everything else, to really start experiencing what other things were missing from our lives when we were spending this time in front of a screen. So what works best for you? Test, maybe document that in a form of a small graph like I did, or diary, and reflect on it, and maybe repeat to find the best ways and enjoy being a human to the fullest, rather than being reduced to a person just spending just a bit too much time on a screen. And connect with others. That's super important, because as we are in the digital era, we are all exposed to the risks of technologies that we were talking about. So you are definitely not alone, and it's good to talk about it with your friends, with your colleagues, if you want to connect with me privately, feel free to do that as well. Because also sometimes simple conversation can help to understand, do I need some more disconnection, or am I good? Am I fine? How is my balance between usage of the technologies and between life disconnected from it for a moment, to keep the connection with yourself inside, and with what's really important in your life beyond the noisy world that we experience on daily basis when being connected. And here is the promised list of books and some materials that I used when exploring the topic myself. So I can recommend you the Digital Minimalism, Choosing a Focused Life in a Noisy World, Burnout, The Secret of Unlocking the Stress Cycle. There is a Polish book as well, Kultura Dan, Algorytmy wzmacniające uwagę, which helps understand a bit how the digital world is impacting our ability of perception and focus, and so on and so forth. And probably if you don't really have a lot of time, or maybe not enough interest, if I would recommend one of those to start with, that would be this essay, I Used to Be a Human Being, by Andres Sullivan. It's essay, so it's 7,000 words, but it summarizes quite nice on this concept of complicated relationship between us and digital technologies in the era in which we are living today, and for us as digital professionals working on daily basis with the technology. And that's all that I prepared for today. I also wanted to leave some time for your questions, or for your maybe comments. Maybe you want to share some experience from your perspective. If yes, that I'm really happy to respond now live, or we can connect also afterwards through LinkedIn or through email. You can find here my contact details. As I mentioned, I don't want you to come out with the idea that technology is bad and it's risky, but that we need a balance in using it. And as a as a digital professionals, we might be a bit more exposed to the risk of losing that balance. So I'm stopping now to present, and waiting if there are any questions at the moment that I could answer. Okay. Nie boisz się FOMO. All right. So I believe it's about fear of missing out, right? So fear of being excluded from knowing about something, right? From being on top of the latest trends. Just looking if there are anything else. Okay, coming back. Of course, I'm afraid of it. And I can tell you even that I'm a mother of 2 kids. Not sure if we have here someone also being a mother of 2 children, or of 1 or more children. But the biggest fear of missing out that I experienced was actually during being on the maternity leave, where probably the disconnection came itself a bit. So yes, I agree that if we are too much disconnected, we feel excluded, and that's totally normal. So it's not about disconnecting forever. It's not about disconnecting totally and not being in touch with our friends through social media. It's really about trying to find the right balance for us and understanding that the real connections with people are happening outside of the digital world. That's the key. So if you have someone important for you outside of the digital world, it can be a friend, it can be a part of your family, then just make sure to have valuable time with them, and the fear of missing out will disappear. But again, it's about balance. So if you will disconnect for one day or a few days or a controlled period of time, it will not exclude you from everything. It will just help to save you and to make you feeling connected to what's important for you. And then you can come back. It's just important to take control over what you want to see and in what you want to participate, and not being controlled by the push messages from others and by the fear of being missing out. So yeah, every one of us has some level of this fear, but at the end of the day, the most important is to be connected with yourself, and then the fear will also be lower because you will be able to connect with others better, and you will not need all this information and noise coming. So balance and connection with people outside of digital environment are my 2 points, maybe as a quick answer to that. Thank you for that question. That's just fantastic. So if I see possibility of integration of the digital detox with the corporate world, it is not an easy question. But what I can tell you as a team manager in one of the big corporations, now there is a big focus on the well-being of the employees, because finally to the mainstream of management concepts, it came in that if employees, people in our teams, the team members are not in a well-being state, they will not be productive or efficient, and they will not reach their goals and so on. So I think it's a super important topic also for corporations. And yes, I see this possibility as long as it is in close cooperation between the team and the manager to understand how the best the team member can find the right balance. So it's a work on both sides, I would say. The managers should understand that the employees, team members cannot be connected 100% of their time to the work. On the other hand, there is also some responsibility on us as corporate employees or any other company employees to also have this healthy time spent outside of work, not being sucked in different digital activities, right? So it's a work from both sides, but I believe that if people want to find the right balance and talk transparently, it can be incorporated. And as a matter of fact, it's not easy, to be very honest, but I think there is no other choice, and that we will need to find better ways to make sure that there's not too much overwhelm and not too much work on our shoulders. And it's an open topic in many corporations. So my message and answer would be: start from transparent conversation with your direct manager, and also grow your awareness around what helps you and what doesn't help you to have a constructive relationship with this connection with the digital technologies. All right. Okay, I'm really happy to see that comment. There is no question, but there is a good feeling of eye-opening presentation. Thank you. How to avoid all of the info falling on you when you try to connect with friends and relatives on social media? Well, that's a good question. And again, I will come back to my first answer of fear of missing out, around fear of missing out. I would recommend to look for ways to connect with your friends and with your relatives outside of social media too. Social media at its beginning, um, that's by the way one of the things that is touched in the book Digital Minimalism. So if you want to reflect on it more, you can. I really encourage you to read it. The very first intention of iPhone, for example, being created was only for calling purposes, and not for maintaining, most of our relationships through it. Then it evolved because of different reasons, probably. But I guess my main answer would be don't use social media mainly to connect with your friends and relatives. Go outside of it. Maybe make a phone call. Maybe just, and then from the phone call, it can start that you will arrange a meeting, right? And I guess again, it's not. I don't want to say that contact through social media is bad. No, it can be very useful to know what's happening in case of your friends maybe being somewhere far away from you. But it should not be our basis and our baseline of relations with others. It should be just a addition to it, and to be really in touch with someone who is important for us. We should never limit to social media. We should first of all take care of the interaction with those people in the real life. And making digital detox for a moment at least, it's the first step. How to balance between disconnection and become informed? Super important question. And I guess I would say, I don't know yet myself. Because if you would see my mailbox, my Gmail today, it's such a big list of emails that I can't even go through, because, and I'm not talking about emails from people, but I'm signed up to 10 newsletters about AI, about new technologies, and so on and so forth. And I'm not really reading even half of them. So much is coming to my mailbox. But when I was signing up, I thought, okay, that will be a good, way to stay connected to the topic. So I would say, and no one has that answer today. And this is why we have to practice ourselves and see what works for us, what doesn't work. The key here is to keep control of what's really important for you. You cannot be connected to everything. You cannot be informed about everything, because we would just get mad and crazy if we were connected to everything happening in the world. But you should stay connected and informed about what is really important for you. But to know what is really important for us, we have to find those peaceful moments to spend some time with ourselves, with our thoughts, with our values, and make that reflection of okay, what's important for me, what I need to know, and what are the topics that maybe are on top, maybe are trendy, but I don't care today. They're not so important for me personally. And then you can pick and choose. All right, so if I'm interested in AI, I'm finding a good newsletter, but one, not five. That was my mistake. And I'm signing up. Or I'm finding for, I don't know, maybe good channel on Spotify talking about AI. And this is what I'm, interacting with, but when I want, and not when, again, the newsletters are coming. So I would say, think what's important for you, really. Find peaceful time to reflect on that, and then pick and choose where you want to be informed, and where you don't care because you neither have impact on something or it's not your key interest. And it's okay. It's okay not to know everything. It's important to be informed about what really matters for you, for your career, for your personal ambitions. But we cannot know everything. And I think it's one of the biggest learnings I got through the years of my experience at work, but also in my private life. Okay, so do we have anything else? No. I see there are no more questions coming now live. And again, if you feel that's interesting for you, if you would like, if any other question would come to your mind after the presentation, I'm happy to connect. Just let me know via LinkedIn or via mail. As I said, the mails from real people, not newsletters. I'm trying to follow to get on top of those. And it's a very personal topic as well. I think while you can read more, become more aware of it, just test what works for you. Just do it. And again, fear of missing out is a powerful fear that sometimes prevents us from checking LinkedIn, Facebook, news, emails, and so on. But there is world behind that. There is a lot of responsibility, opportunities beyond just the digital social media and other technologies. And just disconnect and try using it. Try to go for a bike, try to go for a walk, try to go and visit your friend instead of checking all the social media. And that can be a good start, I guess, just as a last call out from the presentation. So thank you very much once again. It was really fantastic to talk about that. And I hope to meet you somewhere maybe and talk more in reality. That would be the perfect scenario. Thank you. Bye-bye.